Hey everybody, it's Pep. You're watching The Sentinel. Here's the first of my 21 days in a row video, and I thought I'd start it off with my proper review or discussion on Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. It's a classic, a lot of people love it. I know there have been heaps and heaps and heaps of videos and reviews and stuff written about this fragrance. I have already talked about it in some kind of form in my favourite Tom Ford video. Also did a while back my favourite leather fragrances, and Tuscan leather was one of those featured. And I want to say that of all my leather fragrances that I have in my collection, it's not my favourite leather based fragrance. I love it, but what I can say about Tom Ford's Tuscan leather straight off the top is that when I'm testing or trying out another leather fragrance, I'm always unconsciously or accidentally comparing it to Tuscan leather. So in a way, Tuscan leather has become my reference leather fragrance. And I know there are probably lots of other great leather fragrances that I haven't even had my nose on yet, and please feel free to comment and mention them in the comments. But what I'll do is go into a bit of detail about how I find Tuscan leather on my skin. I have a decan, I don't have a bottle. And having said that, I'm still not sure that when my decant does finish, whether I will want to get an actual bottle. I do like wearing it. I do really like wearing it. I do love the fragrance, but I'm not sure if I'm going to miss it. Now, one of the reasons for that is that I haven't tried any of the well-known clones or inspired by fragrances. Stuff from like in particular the one that gets talked about a lot is the fragrance from Razazi, and I think it's pronounced El Yakawam, and if I've pronounced that incorrectly, I apologize. From what I read, it's very good copy of Tuscan leather, and so, you know, down the track I might try that out, because if it gets very close and is the price that you can get that for, well, I don't see the value in going for a bottle of the actual Tom Ford. Now, having said that, again, I'll repeat, I really like this fragrance. As close to a love as I can get with it. It opens up for me, I'll talk about it on my skin. It opens up for me with mainly raspberry mixed with a really clean, pure, almost just tanned leather. And the thing about, and I do love the raspberry and leather opening, and the raspberry at least gives it a touch of lightness for me before it just gets into full-on black tanned leather. But what I love about what this does in my mind, because obviously the sense of smell has very close associations with the brain and how it works with memory associations, and what this does is starts off with that bright fruity leather, which gives it an impression of a just tanned brand new leather. It's just been cut, and over the course of the development on my skin, it's almost as if this leather gets like a time lapse of this leather. Whether it's a piece of furniture, it gets lived in and it ages on your skin. So what almost you're experiencing this piece, this object being worn, being used, being lived in, aging on your skin before your very eyes and nose, before your nose. But it has really strong associations for me. Being of Italian background and growing up in an Italian family, the type of furniture that used to be in the places we lived or of my relatives, there was this type of leather ingrained itself in my subconscious, and it really brings me back to my childhood, and I do get a lot of association with my father in this fragrance, and that's only what that particular smell of leather does to me. The fragrance itself is outstanding to me. It's almost hyper realistic what this represents, and by that I mean that if I smell this in isolation, I think that nothing could be as close to this type of leather as this scent. Whereas I'm sure if I smelled this and then smelled something made of a similar type of Italian leather, you would pick up differences, and this is almost too real to me, and it is at once evocative. It is a very sexy fragrance, and all the associations that you have with that leather smell. And what I do find with this fragrance is if I look at the listed notes for this fragrance, I don't really pick up a lot of the other notes that are listed in here. I do get a touch of the saffron, and obviously the suede is there, and they come in a little bit later in probably the mids, and saffron has a leathery aspect to it anyway. I pick up very little, if any, of I think there's white floral, maybe jasmine in here, and I'm just trying to think of the other. There is olibanum or frankincense, and there is a resinous, almost smoky aspect to Tuscan leather in the dry down. What I do pick up here, and I think it's what people associate with the infamous cocaine note or accord that some people believe is in Tuscan leather. To me, that what they might be talking about is, to me, it's a little bit of a petrol or gasoline smell, and what that immediately reminds me of in Tuscan leather is the original Christian Dior Fahrenheit had a very, very similar petroleum note to what I get here, and I didn't actually realise it until the last couple of times I'd worn it. And this apparently cocaine can have a bit of a petroleum-like odour or smell association. I get it, but to me now that I've made that connection to original Fahrenheit, I can't get that out of my mind, and it's not a bad thing, but I can really. And Fahrenheit is obviously another great leather fragrance. So there's a lot more going on in Fahrenheit, I think, than in Tuscan leather. And it's reasonably linear, this scent, to me on my skin, which isn't a bad thing. It opens up bright again with that fruit, that raspberry note, and settles down into a more resinous, older leather. So what the clever thing about this fragrance for me is the way the leather ages on my skin. So it basically goes from a brand new fresh leather into this old beautiful antique piece of furniture. It's sexy, masculine. I find this a very masculine fragrance, but there is no reason why women can't wear it, and I don't have anything against women wearing this for sure. Performance wise, I get a good 10 hours out of this, and this projects on me for you know, probably a good 4 hours at least. Not huge projection, but I guess that depends on how many sprays you play with. Maximum 4 sprays for me, and I probably would hesitate to wear this in warm weather. It might get a bit too much. It'd be, you know, to me it'd be the same as wearing a heavy leather jacket, you know, on a warm day. It kind of wears a little bit like that. But Tuscan leather is a classic, is one of the original private blends released back in 2007 from Tom Ford. I really appreciate that original line, the original releases that came out back in 2007. They've kind of stood the test of time, and there have been some other great private blends released since then, but Tuscan leather is one of them. It probably verges on, you know, being a classic / almost legendary fragrance. Now, to me, it is my reference leather, or the fragrance I compare all other leather fragrances to, and I absolutely recommend people try it. It might not be for everyone, and you kind of have to be willing to have a certain amount of confidence to pull this off, I think, and probably not something I could see younger guys or girls wearing, only because it is a really, to me, mature, sophisticated fragrance, and you may not agree with that. I just could never see myself pulling this off when I was a younger man, but I can now. I really love it. So that's my opinion, overview, review, Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next review or video tomorrow. See ya.